Have you ever wondered why so many older adults seem to experience a sharp decline in health after turning 80, despite appearing healthy only a few years before? It's not always heart disease, cancer, or a sudden accident that causes this. In fact, it's often something far more subtle, yet no less impactful. I'm Dr. James, a men's health expert with over 30 years of experience, specializing in helping seniors regain their vitality and health. Over the years, through extensive clinical practice, thousands of patient cases, and years of research, I've uncovered critical patterns that most doctors overlook. What if I told you that one of the most important predictors of how long and how well you live after 60 doesn't lie in your cholesterol numbers, blood pressure readings, or even your level of physical fitness? Instead, it's tied to something far deeper and much less discussed, something many seniors unknowingly neglect due to shame, fear, or misinformation. Today, I'll reveal a crucial key to maintaining vibrancy, mental sharpness, and independence well into your 80s, 90s, and beyond. The best part? You don't need expensive medications, exhausting workouts, or complicated diets to achieve it. You already possess this tool within you, waiting to be reignited. Stick with me, because in just a few minutes, I'll walk you through simple yet groundbreaking steps that can help you reclaim your energy and vitality. I promise the final part of this video will change your entire perspective on aging. Before we continue, if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do so and tap the bell icon so you never miss important health tips that are tailored to help you remain strong, vibrant, and independent. If this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments to let me know, or type 0 if there's something we can improve. Your feedback is valuable to us. Now that you understand the importance of this often overlooked factor for your health, let's explore one of the most silent but devastating threats that faces older adults today, a quiet epidemic that weakens the body and shortens life long before it's time. The hidden epidemic, loss of connection to physical pleasure. As I sit with patients in their 70s and 80s, I often notice a quiet sadness in their eyes, a resignation that life has somehow become smaller, colder, and less connected. Over the years, I've come to recognize one of the most subtle but powerful changes that happens as people age, a gradual disconnection from their own bodies and from the physical pleasure that once made them feel vibrant and alive. This is not something most seniors openly talk about, yet it's happening everywhere, robbing men and women of their vitality without them even realizing it. Somewhere along the way, society taught us a dangerous lie, that intimacy, touch, and sexual expression are only for the young. After reaching a certain age, many believe they must abandon this part of their humanity. As a result, many seniors internalize this belief, thinking that enjoying physical pleasure is no longer possible, or worse, shameful. Some withdraw because of physical changes, others because of emotional scars, and still others simply because they don't know that staying connected to their bodies is not only possible but necessary for lifelong health. What many don't realize is that this disconnection leads to a silent downward spiral. Without regular stimulation, blood flow to vital organs decreases, neural pathways linked to pleasure begin to fade, and hormonal imbalances start to creep in. Little by little, the body loses resilience, not just sexually, but mentally, emotionally, and physically. Sleep worsens, moods decline, energy fades, and the immune system weakens. Over time, this disconnection raises the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, dementia, and depression. I've seen this happen time and time again. Once vibrant individuals slowly lose their spark, not because their hearts failed or their bodies deteriorated, but because the very life force that sustained them was neglected. The importance of physical pleasure, whether through intimacy with a partner or self-pleasure, is one of the pillars of human vitality. Abandoning it out of fear or misinformation doesn't just rob you of joy, it shortens your life. But there's hope. Reconnecting with your body, reigniting those forgotten sensations, can spark a healing process deeper than you might imagine. It's never too late to rediscover what your body is still capable of, and in fact, this may be the key to unlocking better health, sharper memory, and a deeper emotional resilience than you ever thought possible. Why masturbation? After 60 is critical for longevity. For many years, I've witnessed the subtle yet profound transformations in my patients who have maintained a connection to their bodies as they age. One truth has become overwhelmingly clear. Maintaining physical pleasure, including solo sexual expression, is not a luxury, but a critical component for long-term health and vitality. You may find this surprising, especially if you were raised in a culture that viewed such topics with discomfort or even shame. However, biology speaks louder than societal conventions, and it tells a very different story. After 60, the body faces natural declines in circulation, hormonal production, muscle tone, and neurological function. Yet regular masturbation has been shown to counteract many of these effects. When a senior engages in sexual expression, even without a partner, the body responds in remarkable ways. Blood flow surges through the brain, heart, and extremities, nourishing tissues that might otherwise begin to deteriorate. Endorphins flood the bloodstream, lowering stress levels and promoting restful sleep. Testosterone levels rise modestly, helping preserve muscle mass, bone density, and emotional resilience, all essential pillars of healthy aging. But it's not just the physical benefits. The impact on the brain is fascinating. Neuroscientific studies have shown that sexual pleasure stimulates multiple regions of the brain, maintaining neural pathways responsible for memory, emotional regulation, and executive function. In simpler terms, it keeps your brain young, flexible, and alive. I've seen patients who embrace this practice exhibit sharper thinking, greater creativity, and an overall brighter outlook on life compared to those who withdraw from physical connection. Beyond the biological benefits, masturbation after 60 is an act of self-recognition. It reaffirms that your body is worthy of care, affection, and pleasure. It pushes back against the damaging myth that aging means fading away. Instead, it powerfully reminds you that life can still be fully felt and richly experienced. This emotional connection often leads to broader positive changes, better eating habits, a renewed interest in social activities, and even a stronger desire to move and exercise. When patients ask me if it's too late to reignite this part of their lives, I answer firmly, it's never too late. Your body may need more time, more patience, and a gentler touch, but it is still capable of giving you deep, nourishing sensations that fuel your spirit and extend your health far beyond what you might have expected. Common misconceptions that steal seniors' vitality. Through my years of practice, I've noticed how easily strong, vibrant individuals can fall victim to misconceptions that slowly erode their vitality. Often, they don't even realize it's happening until one day they feel like a shadow of their former selves. These misconceptions are not harmless misunderstandings. They are powerful, invisible forces that can convince seniors to abandon one of their most vital sources of health and joy. One of the most heartbreaking misconceptions is that after a certain age, physical pleasure simply doesn't matter anymore. I've heard so many people say, "I'm too old for that," with a sad, resigned smile. But here's the truth. Age doesn't erase your body's need or ability for intimacy and touch. It simply changes the way that need is expressed. Giving up on this part of yourself because you believe it's irrelevant is like living in a house without turning on the lights. You might survive, but you miss out on so much warmth, color, and beauty. Another harmful belief is that self-pleasure is somehow shameful. Many grew up in an era when it was whispered about with embarrassment or seen as a moral failing. These old messages can leave deep scars, creating layers of guilt that linger well into later life. But let me make this clear. Caring for your own body is not shameful. It is a vital act of honoring your health, your life, and your spirit. There is also the damaging myth that conserving sexual energy will somehow preserve your strength. In reality, regular sexual activity, including solo activity, fuels the body's systems, boosting hormones, maintaining circulation, and preserving tissue health. Just like any other muscle, the parts of us responsible for pleasure need regular activation to stay vibrant and alive. Perhaps the most harmful misconception is the belief that sexual health is separate from overall health. The truth is they are deeply interconnected. When you nourish one, you nourish the other. When you neglect one, both begin to suffer. Understanding these misconceptions is the first step to reclaiming the vibrant, powerful life that still lies ahead of you. The restoration method, reclaiming sexual vitality step by step. When I began guiding older patients through the process of reconnecting with their bodies, I realized many needed more than just encouragement. They required a clear, practical path, a method they could follow with confidence. That's how the restoration method came into being. It's a step-by-step process designed specifically for the aging body, respecting the changes that come with time while reigniting the vital connection between mind and body that so often fades. The first step in the method is preparation. Before anything else, you must create a space where you feel safe, comfortable, and free from interruption. Set the temperature just right, choose a cozy chair or bed, and have high-quality lubricant on hand. These small acts send a powerful message to your body. You matter, and your health is worth the effort. Next comes relaxation. This isn't a race, and it's not a chore. Start by breathing deeply, letting your muscles soften, and allowing your heart rate to slow. Feel the tension melt away from your body piece by piece, like sand slipping through your fingers. This simple act of presence can open doors to sensations that you might have thought were closed forever. Then comes awakening. Gently explore areas of your body that you may have neglected for years: your inner thighs, lower belly, chest. Touch these areas lightly with curiosity rather than judgment. Pay attention to how your body responds, even in small ways. These responses are signs that your body is still alive, still eager to connect with you. Now we move into focused stimulation. With no pressure or expectation, introduce more direct touch. Allow arousal to build naturally in its own time. Using slow, mindful movements rather than rushing creates a depth of sensation that is often lost in hurried experiences. It's not about reaching a finish line, it's about enjoying the journey your body is capable of taking you on. Finally comes integration. This is the moment to pause, breathe, and thank yourself for choosing to invest in your own well-being. Let yourself savor the feeling of aliveness, no matter how subtle or intense it may be. In this quiet acknowledgement, healing takes root. This method is not about chasing the past, it's about embracing who you are right now, with all the wisdom, strength, and tenderness that come with your years. Once you experience even a small spark of reconnection, you'll understand just how much potential still lies within you. Overcoming challenges, what to expect, and how to succeed. When guiding someone through the restoration method, I always remind them that real change is rarely a straight line. It's natural to encounter moments of doubt, frustration, or even discouragement. I've seen it happen time and again, not because people lack the desire to heal, but because they unknowingly fall into traps that make the journey harder than it needs to be. Knowing what to expect and how to respond can make the difference between giving up and transforming your health and vitality for good. One of the most common challenges is unrealistic expectations. Many seniors assume that if they do everything right, they should immediately feel like they did in their 20s. But the truth is, your body has changed, and that's not a failure, it's simply life. Success now is measured not by how quickly you reach intense pleasure, but by how much you reconnect with sensation, comfort, and presence. Even small improvements are signs that healing is taking place beneath the surface. Another obstacle is inconsistency. Just like strengthening a muscle or restoring flexibility, rebuilding your sensual connection requires regular attention. Practicing only occasionally when the mood happens to strike is like watering a plant once a month and expecting it to flourish. Set aside time 2 or 3 times a week, not as a duty, but as an act of self-respect. Your body will respond to this kindness in ways that will gradually surprise you. Performance pressure is another hidden saboteur. When you focus too much on achieving a certain result, it creates stress and tightens the very muscles and blood vessels you're trying to relax. Let go of the idea that every session must end in a certain way. Embrace the process. Feelings of pleasure, however subtle, are victories to be celebrated, not judged against youthful memories. Finally, shame can quietly undermine your efforts. Many men and women carry old, buried feelings that whisper, "This isn't appropriate," or "I shouldn't need this." If that voice arises, meet it with compassion, not judgment. Remind yourself that seeking pleasure is not selfish or silly. It's a vital part of honoring the miraculous body you still inhabit. Overcoming these hurdles is not always easy, but it is deeply worth it. Each step you take, each moment of patience and self-kindness strengthens not just your sexual vitality, but your overall spirit and resilience. As you gain confidence, you may find yourself ready to embrace something even greater: the complete restoration of your health and energy through a simple yet transformative system built specifically for this season of your life. Conclusion: reclaim your right to thrive. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with a simple yet powerful truth. Your body, your health, and your right to experience pleasure do not expire with age. They evolve, yes, but they do not disappear. Reclaiming this part of yourself is not about chasing youth. It's about honoring the life you still have within you, the strength that has carried you through decades of challenges, and the spirit that refuses to give up. I have seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s reignite a spark they thought was lost forever. With that spark came renewed health, confidence, and joy. You deserve that too. It begins with one choice: to believe that you are still capable, still deserving, still alive in every sense of the word. Start small, stay patient, be gentle with yourself. And remember, every step you take toward reconnecting with your body is a step toward a future filled, not just with more years, but with more life in every year. Your story is still being written. Choose today to write it with strength, dignity, and the fullness you were meant to enjoy.